out. Like I think back to what I did after that. I was still kind of doing that style, but it was more filled in and less background as a fill-in and stuff. But I wish I had, at the time, thinking back, I wish I had actually gone even further after that piece, like just pushed it even a little bit more.
So what kind of inspired that? I mean, was there something that kind of triggered an idea? Or?
So Raven and I and this kid Rage, who was another guy that I painted with a lot in San Francisco Bay Area. The three of us used to meet all the time and just sit and draw and just say, let's draw something like this, or let's try ideas like this, and just see what we could come up with. And Raven showed up one day with some what are they called? Like these old engineering, like electrical map drawings or whatever. Like these old books that had like electrical maps of like how the wire should go and all kinds of stuff.
Electrical plans.
Yeah, electrical plans. And he saw letters in those electrical plans. So he's like, just look at these and then draw what you see.
Wow.
But try to do it in graffiti. So that's kind of how that whole thing kind of spawned. It's like just looking at something else to create graffiti, which is kind of how architecture came into what I do. Was just seeing architecture plans and
oh, interesting.
Just looking for something else to inspire what I was doing on the walls.
So the lines that don't end, that kind of fade out, they're kind of where the electrical plans are.
Yeah.
All right, so a little bit of change of scene. We're now indoors, so hopefully it'll be a little quieter. But okay, so you were talking about the electrical plans and how they inspired that.
The idea was to find inspiration in other things that weren't graffiti related or, just that weren't graffiti related. And so, it was the electrical plans was what he had come up with. Like I said, he brought that book and it was just like littered with these crazy, crazy drawings.
Who was this again?
Raven.
Oh, okay.
From TWS crew. And so I remember just going to the bookstore and looking at architectural books and just like the plans that they had, especially ones that had geographical maps as well. Just like that organic shape with the really, straight line shape as well.
All the topo lines?
Yeah, like that was really, really cool to me. So that's kind of...
nice.
It's kind of where all that came from, for me.
So how... So what happened after that in terms of architecture? Like how does architecture inspire what you're doing now?
So I guess...
Like it's kind of interesting to me that you're still, that has led to like a genuine interest in architecture, and that you're still sort of influenced by that.
I think I was always inspired by architecture in one form or another, but not really within graffiti. Like I was telling you before, like I had wanted to be an architect or a draftsman or whatever it was when I was in school, so there was some interest in there to begin with, but I never made that connection of like, looking at an architectural drawing and saying, oh, that could be an L or that could be an M or something, I never made that connection before. And so once I started making that connection, I just started looking at more and more books and more drawings, and that's how I came across Zaha Hadid. And her drawings and her paintings like changed everything for what I was doing. It was like overnight, pretty much.
And where did you stumble across one of her books, or?
Man, I don't even recall, but I want to say yeah. Did I just maybe it was the internet, or I don't even remember. But I just remember seeing some image, and it had to do with I think it was the fire station that she had done in Germany, and I was just blown away. So I was like, wow, that could be a piece. Just looking at the topographical image of that building was a piece to me. Like, that's how I saw it. So.
Have you seen any of her buildings
in person?
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately.
There aren't. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. What other things were people looking at? Other things besides, like, what else? Where else were people going besides like architecture?
I think some people were looking at, like, I think Rage might have been looking at like Celtic stuff, which wasn't really uncommon. I mean, there are a lot of people that were doing Celtic graffiti, or that looked like Celtic graffiti, but he was doing it in a different way that was more almost like tribal instead of Celtic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we each had found our own little niche. Like I went toward architecture, Raven went toward the electrical maps, and then Rage was more toward like tribal tattooing and art.
So I had a question, but I lost it. Okay, so I remember the tribal design that you did. That was kind of that style. Do you remember?
I don't. Oh, well, I'd done a few actually.
Yeah. So tell us how you started doing shirts and stuff
For tribal.
For tribal, and I mean you've done designs for a lot of different.
So for tribal, I had moved to San Diego and was trying to meet writers there. And, I can't remember who gave me their number. The guys at Tribal were like, oh, contact these guys. They know writers. So I did, and just kind of hit it off with them. Like, yeah, you should do a shirt for us. But at the time, it was just characters. And I didn't really feel very strong with characters, but I did a couple anyway. And they actually did pretty well, so I was excited. And they...
Oh, so you did a couple character shirts for them? And
at first, yeah.
And they sold well, and so...
And so I think I did 2 more character shirts. And then I talked to him into letting me do actual letters. And it didn't do well at all. Like, I think even to this day, he would still say, oh, it did okay, but I think he's just being nice. Like, because I pulled a lot of the orders that people ordered, and I don't ever remember going to my section and pulling that shirt for any of the orders that I pulled.
So did you actually work for Trevor?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I worked for them just pulling shirts, like pulling orders that people had ordered, and when they had trade shows, I would go and help set up and tear down. There's actually even a few where I worked as like a guy that was, that showed you all the shirts and told you the pricing and all that kind of stuff. Salesman.
And what other companies have you done shirts for and stuff?
I've done shirts for a playground that I don't think did very well either. I did a collaboration with Cody Hudson for Burton Snowboards. We did a line of 6 snowboards. I have no idea how that did. I did some stuff for Nike that never got produced. I think that's it. I'm sure there's other stuff I did, I just can't remember.
So what is, I guess how has like graffiti influenced what you're doing now? I mean, outside in terms of art.
So
other than bike racing, I guess.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of changes going on there. I guess now that I don't really paint walls anymore, I don't